Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to cover another comment that I got. It's a really good question. This is what the comment says. It says, how you described your mother is the same as my mother and brother. They turn into monsters, proving their JW religion. Why do they do that? What's with their anger? I'm gonna give you guys a little story time. When I was waking up and having these discussions with my mom, one of the things that she kept telling me was, you just need more time to study. You need to do personal research. You need to do personal Bible study. You haven't learned enough. You need to do more research. You need to go on the website. All of the questions will be answered if you just did your research. And I used to tell her, I spent 17 years of my life from the time that I was born doing research and reading the Bible and reading everything that you literally give me. I would read it, study it, and what I'm telling you now as an adult is that this is not sufficient. So how can you tell me to continue reading the same paragraph and that somehow it's gonna click and mean something different? They always wanted to make it seem like a comprehension level problem, like if you're the dumb one, you're the problem. And when I would turn the wheels and be like, no, it's you're the issue, you're the problem. So it's like this back and forth blaming people, and then it would turn into an argument. It makes me think that that's how she handled it. That's how she proved that the truth was the truth. And they're looking at you like, well, I did it, why can't you do it? So you must be the problem. Because when I went through it and I asked the questions and I went to the elders, they gave me answers that was satisfactory. So why is it not satisfying for you? There must be something else going on. You must be looking at apostate stuff. Or it must be your husband. He's the one who's spewing these lies. You are just gaslighting me, making me feel as if it's everything else around me, but not me. If I'm asking questions and I'm letting her know that, you got this wrong, you got that wrong, the defense mechanism that they have, she looked and sounded as if she was possessed. That's how serious it was for somebody like my mom. My mom was a very dedicated and devout Jehovah's Witness. She was super fanatical about it, and I mean super. Let me tell you. My mom would consider herself a pillar of the congregation. She was exemplary. The only thing was that she was a single mom and she had one child. When she was raising me, she raised me just like herself. It's almost as if she was trying to clone her spirituality into me and grill it into me enough that it should be pouring out of me. And when it wasn't happening, she never understood, or maybe she just didn't want to understand, that I am a completely different individual and I have my own thoughts and feelings and opinions, and she didn't like that. It's not just her specifically, it's Jehovah's Witnesses, the whole organization. If you don't mold and bend into the rules, you're not cut out for it. They don't have a problem kicking you out. She had such an issue trying to force me, trying to make me want to do things that I really didn't want to do. So she would always ask me questions like, did you pray? Do you want to go on service? Oh, we should sign up to be auxiliary pioneers. We could do it together. Like, she was always trying to make it seem like it was something fun and something to be a part of. And I was like, no, I don't want to. No, not really. That's when she had to try other ways. It was becoming a very restrictive upbringing, very controlling, very, very fanatical on her part. And that is also what woke me up, because I was like, being a Jehovah's Witness was a choice. The way you're trying to make me believe that it is a choice and that we should be using our free will, our own thinking capabilities, then if I want to become a Jehovah's Witness, then it's okay to continue living like one. But if I didn't want to do it, and I used to tell her all the time, you always tell me that Jehovah gives us free will, then I should be able to exercise that free will and say, I do not want to do this. I don't want to go out in service. I don't want to go to the meetings. I don't see the point in any of it. It was not real to me. that was something that I used to take seriously when I was a kid. Like when you're little and you believe in Santa type of thing, and then you grow up and you're like, oh yeah, Santa doesn't exist. But I'm not gonna ruin it for the other kids. Let them, you know, have their little fun. To me, I felt like I already woke up without even knowing it, I guess. Like, I grew up. I didn't even know it at the time, but I was dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety as a child. And my mom didn't address those issues, but she used the religion as the father figure. So if you don't have a father in the Jehovah's Witnesses, or if you don't have a parent or that figure in your life that guides you, they say that Jehovah's gonna be your father. Jehovah is your mother. Jehovah is your father. The organization is your father. And, you know, you don't need your human father. You have your heavenly father. It bothers me because I'm like, but where's my real father? Now, when I woke up, even with the religious stuff, I woke up to who she really is as well. Because I'm like, you used to tell me all of these stories. It's emotional blackmail. You used to tell me how bad he was, how worldly he was, that he was disassociated, and how to treat disassociated people, even if they're your parents. So I remember growing up treating my father very badly, emotionally. And I kind of felt bad afterwards because I'm like, I was only acting like that even as a child because I was brainwashed. I was indoctrinated to believe that he was a bad guy. My dad's profession was also an issue because he used to be a police officer. And among the Jehovah's Witnesses, that's one of the biggest no-nos. There are certain professions that are frowned upon. So when you're growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, you're never going to say something that you want to be a police officer. And the only reason why it's frowned upon is because they carry a gun. And for Jehovah's Witnesses, guns equals violence. They make you feel as if having a gun makes you bad too. Because why do you need a gun? And why would you ever use a gun? And if you do use a gun, you're most likely to sin because you could kill somebody with it. And we don't believe in that. Exactly what the organization does in their publications, that's how my mom would raise me. She took like the playbook from Jehovah's Witnesses and she was like, this is how I'm gonna raise her. And it doesn't work. It didn't work at all. In my mind, I thought I was the perfect Jehovah's Witness. I was doing literally everything that was expected and more of a Jehovah's Witness. It was almost like a full-time job. And you're a child, you're a minor. I woke up also to the fact that all of the stories that my mom used to tell me of her life, of her marriage, her mistakes, everything that she went through, she was always using these stories to circle back to Jehovah and Jehovah's organizations. I came back to Jehovah and it was the organization that took me back. And then that's when she had me, and then from then on she continued to live as a devout Jehovah's Witness, you know, for the rest of her life. It's like if she vowed, you know, like when you say, you know, near to death experience and you're like, God, if you let me live, if you take me out of this, I'm gonna serve you forever. It was like she had one of those kind of moments in her life and she was like, I'm gonna raise this baby, I'm gonna raise this child in your organization, Jehovah, please. She will never credit human nature for good things happening or bad things happening. It's always like a spiritual thing for her. So I'm like, she is not rooted in reality at all. All of her stories was so inflated and so exaggerated because she was also instilling that emotional fear and the religious fear to keep control. She didn't realize I was a completely different individual with my own experiences and my own perception of the world. And I used to always think like, okay, well, that happened to you. Those are the decisions that you made, good or bad. And it looked like you made a lot of bad decisions. Did you take accountability for those decisions? Did you try to take responsibility for the decisions that you made? She is projecting onto me so that I can be afraid and be like, oh, I'm never gonna do that. Because growing up, when I was dealing with these depressive thoughts, she would always salve it with Jehovah. She would always salve it with an article. She would always salve it like, you know what, I think you're gonna feel better and get better if you get baptized. Things will get better the more you dedicate your life to Jehovah. So I'm 10 years old and I'm thinking, I'm dealing with bullying at school, I'm dealing with anxiety going to school. I had a teacher who I perceived as bullying me. I had a lot of issues in my social school life that I felt like I don't want to go to school anymore. You say we should pray to Jehovah. You should let it all out to Jehovah. So when you pray to Jehovah, cry it out. So we would have these sessions of praying and just crying and letting it go. And then she'll say, see how good it feels? See how much better you feel by just crying and letting it out? And I used to be like, yeah, I feel so much better, because it's like you're releasing all of this energy. And that's how praying started for me. I don't want to pray like that. Like, what was I doing? It's crazy to think about it now, because I'm like, yo, my mom is crazy. She's crazy. I have a 10-year-old now. He's about to turn 10 this year. And I can never imagine myself telling my 10-year-old, if he was having an issue, to pray to Jehovah and to emotionally drag yourself into a point where you're bawling, where you're weeping and letting it out like that. And then when I was a little older, like preteen, teenage years, my mom would look at me and she would say something like, okay, so this coming Sunday or this coming Thursday, we're gonna go to the meeting. Sitting in the car before we go in, she would warn me, and she would be like, we're gonna go into the meeting. You need to say hi to everybody. I'm not saying hi to everybody. You know how many people could be in the hall? Maybe like almost 100 people, maybe. Back in the day, they used to be full. So that was the anxiety for me. I'm like, so you mean to tell me I need to say hi and hug these people twice a week? People who I don't even know. I don't hang out with them. To be fake and be friendly and present myself as if everything's good when it's not. And I was literally her tail. And she would be saying hi to everybody, hugging everybody. She was such a people person. She was such a social butterfly and everything. And that's who she was. But that's not me. Stop trying to make me like you. You want to invite everybody to your house. You want to be cooking for people and having gatherings and everything. I used to hate when people came over my house. And I was a homebody. So it was like my home was like my thing. It's private. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a complete different person. And that's when we used to bump heads, because I'm like, me and my mom were not the same. We didn't agree on everything, and I guess it was like a teenage thing, but I was like saying no to everything, and she was like yes, and it's gonna happen, and this is how it is, and yada yada. And I used to be like, I can't believe this is my life right now. You know how many nights I used to dream of living by myself, because I was like, you know what, I just need to wait until I turn 18. I used to daydream. I used to dream of just waiting till the day I turn 18 to leave this house. I did not grow up, in my opinion, as just an average Jehovah's Witness, because my house was 10 times worse than an average Jehovah's Witness. I used to go to other people's houses. They used to have TVs in the living room. They used to have computers, access to the internet, cell phones, whatever the case may be. I didn't have that in my household. And the only reason why I had a cell phone growing up was because my dad bought it for me to keep in communication with me. We didn't even have regular TV, cable TV, no exposure to the outside world. I would go to other people's houses and see, oh, they have a mom and dad, and the dad is an elder, and in his house, it was completely different than my house. So my mom was like a female elder, because she was worse than the elders parenting with their children. With the friends that I did get along with were the real ones, you know, the kids around my age that were real. And my mom would be like, you know, that they're not really good at association. And then she started with that. So I'm like, okay, so you tell me to make friends, you tell me to open up to different people, and now you're telling me I can't become their friend. I can't friend them because now they're spiritually weak because their mom was disfellowship how many times. And then one of my best friends, I couldn't even go to her house because she had a stepdad. And my mom was like, no, you can't go to her house because her her stepdad is not a Jehovah's Witness. And her mom was so strict that I was looking at her like, bro, we in the same boat. We had a friendship in secrecy because everybody else around us was just too much. Like, I can't do this. I need to let my hair down once in a while. I need to breathe. And the only person that I can do that with was my best friend. When I woke up, I gotta say, I was the most bitter and angry person. But I couldn't even display that because I had already a child. I was already married. I was already stuck in somebody else's life. Now I'm crazy because I finally came out and said what I really think, because you don't know that I've been thinking like this since I was a teenager, because I never said it before. But now that I say it, now you're finding any little excuse to discredit me. Finally, my eyes are opened, even when it comes to you as a mother. And then when certain things would come up and I would tell her, did you know this, and this? And she would be like, oh yeah, we know that. Like, that's common knowledge. Or did you know that the elders, or like the pedophile stuff was going on? And how do we know that there's pedophiles in the Kingdom Hall? She was like, oh yeah, the elders would tell us, like, privately to each family to beware of this person. And I would be like, so you knew about that and you didn't say anything? Oh yeah, we know, but that's the thing. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows to be careful. Everybody has to be responsible for their own kids. That's the parents' responsibility. And I'm like, how if they don't know? And how do you know that the elders told that family and that family and that family? You're just taking his word for it? That's not good enough for me. If there's a registered sex offender walking into the Kingdom Hall, do you really think that those elders are telling everybody? Or maybe just you? Or maybe anybody who they can trust to keep it on the down low? How do you know that they told every single family with children to beware of this one person? It bothered me. I'm like, oh yeah, they have a brother that watches these people. So they're marked and they are watched. They are being watched. And I'm looking at my mom like, do you really think that this elder is going to be watching this guy 24/7 while he's in the meeting? You think they're going to be going to the bathroom together to make sure that he's not in the bathroom with somebody or doing something that he's not supposed to be doing? How sure are you of... So you're just trusting somebody else to watch somebody else who's already been proven to be deviant or criminal. Do you think that that person is even trained like that? No. Do you even think that that person is going to take it seriously enough, as if a parent would or a mother would? No, I highly doubt that, especially if he was popular or if he was well liked. Like, these were the initial issues that I was having, and my mom was just brushing it off like, oh yeah, we know that. Oh yeah, well, parents have to be responsible, yada yada yada. And I used to look at her like, and you're a parent and you treat it as if it's whatever. And that's what really woke me up, because I was like, you gotta be really disgusting to have that type of opinion, and you're a parent yourself. I'm glad that they shunned me, because I'm like, I don't need any of y'all. Y'all are disgusting. When somebody like that gets hit with somebody like me saying, you know what, this is all crap, this is all lies, they turn red. It's like they are possessed. Like when I told my mom that I was going to convert to Orthodoxy, that I was going to a church, that I was learning about God, that I was learning about Jesus Christ as God, and stuff like that. It was like, that's false religion, that's this, that's that, and totally shutting down. And it was like a FaceTime phone call, and she literally was screaming on the top of her lungs, and she was possessed that I was telling her the truth. You know, like how in those movies, in those like horror movies, that, the cross or whatever would make the demons like they would be repelled by, Jesus or a prayer. That's how my mom was. I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking about the Trinity. I'm talking about Christianity, real Christianity. And this demon came out and was being repulsed and was like scratching, like, shut up. And I'm like, calm down, first of all, because I'm not screaming. I'm literally just sharing information with you. Calm down. Why are you yelling? So you're so disgusted with the truth that it must be true. What I'm learning, it must be true, or I'm going in the right direction, because you are so repelled by the truth. So all you want to hear is lies. All you want to hear is something good to your ears. All you want to hear, you want to be told what you want to hear. And my mom has never spoken like that. I have never seen her react like that. Even when it would be other people in service talking about their religion, or talking about, oh, you got the wrong Jesus Christ, yada yada yada, she would be polite. She would do exactly what the Jehovah's Witnesses tell them, just leave. That's a goat-like personality. Just wash your hands with these people and you move on to the next one. You only talk to people who are receptive to the message. It was the moment that I finally told you that everything that you ever taught me was a lie, and I finally woke up to that lie, and now I'm holding you accountable for it. And instead, I'm telling you the truth about this. You turned wild. You turned disgusting. And I was like, wow, can't even believe that. Then even before this whole argument, and we were visiting my grandma, and she was there, and I had to come with my husband. As soon as he walked into the house, she was sitting at the table and she was reading something at the table, and she just looked up and didn't even say anything, but she was just staring at him with such a disgusting and aggressive look, like, what are you doing here? Get out of here. Nobody wants you here. And like very unwelcoming look. And I was looking at her and I'm like, who she's looking at? She looking at me like that? And then when I looked at my husband, I was like looking at her, looking at him, looking at her, looking at him, and I'm like, why she's looking at him like that? Like, she's never treated him like that before. She was looking at him like, what are you doing here? You have no business here. Because that's her mother's house. And I was like, it got me, it sent chills up my back. Like, I was afraid of her. I was like, I have never seen my mom act like that. Like, what is that? That's why I say is the devil, or is a demon or something, because it was like something came over, and she's never looked like that before. And then my grandma came out, and then I was like, oh, okay, grandma, yeah, we're about to leave. I was trying to get out of there, because I'm like, yo, this person, is she mentally ill or something? Like multiple personalities? Because this person, I don't know. And then my grandma, we were waiting in the hallway, and my grandma, popped out, and she was like, oh, what happened? Why you not coming in? Yada, yada. And then we were like, nah, grandma, we're gonna leave. And then my husband said, I don't know, your daughter's giving me dirty looks, like she don't want me there. I don't know. And you're the one who told me I could come in. You invited me in. My uncle and my grandmother, who lived there, invited him in. They don't have a problem talking to him or associating with him. The fact that she was there in the living room giving that look of disapproval, it was like we were backtracking without her saying anything. We got the hints. We got the message. I ran out of there. I didn't even want to be there. I was like, yo, let's go. She was totally out of pocket with the whole attitude. Even after I told her the real reasons why that I'm converting and that I'm changing my religion or just changing my belief system, it didn't matter what I said. She would say, no, you're leaving because this and this. You abandoned your faith. You don't believe in God. You don't believe in this. You don't believe in that. And I'm telling her like, yes I do. Yes I do. And yeah, I do. And I'm still Christian. I don't know what you're talking about, because for the past 50 minutes I've been trying to explain to you what changed for me. Not everything has changed. Certain things have changed because I learned the doctrine the correct way too. So it doesn't matter what I say. You're not even listening to me. You're not even listening to learn, because whatever I say, you throw it away immediately. Don't like la 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 la, like I'm not even listening. I don't care. You're doing this and I know what's this, yada yada yada. And I'm like, bro, I'm giving you the answer. You asked me a question and I'm giving you the answer. So how you telling me that this is not the answer? So you're telling me how I think, you're telling me how I feel? That doesn't make any sense. Ever since then I kind of feel like I think she's just doing this because subconsciously it's it's happening probably without her even knowing. It's like a moment of insanity. It's a moment of like her brain is defending anything that it can to convince herself that whatever they're saying is a lie, and what you got is correct, what your belief is correct. You're right, you're the right one, she's the wrong one. Don't worry, you're fine. It's like your brain is trying to keep the narrative for you because you're fighting, and you're not willing to accept the truth from somebody else, even if it's the truth. Even presented with facts, you're not willing to take it. So your whole mental state is going to crumble if you don't, because she already went through that. And so she replaced the mental breakdown, all of the cracks and everything, without getting professional help and getting on medication. She replaced it by just taping all of these pieces together and using the religion to glue it instead of real medication. So if you take the religion, if you take this narrative away from somebody like that, their whole world is going to crumble, and she will not be able to recover from it. And I guess she feels like if it does crumble, then she's going to go back into that place and feel suicidal again, and then she will have no other way out. So she is preserving this worldview to stay alive. It's literally what's keeping her alive. Being a Jehovah's Witness is literally keeping her sane. And once I kind of had that realization, like, you know, I need to have a little bit more sympathy. You know, I need to put myself in her shoes a little bit more with everything that I do know about her private life and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. I didn't put two and two together in the past. I was probably too young, probably didn't understand. But now that I'm older and I have kids and I'm living through, you know, life and everything without the organization, I could see how easy it is to substitute everything and just throw yourself into a cult and have these community around you of people that are going to do everything that you probably would have been doing on your own, but now you have these people helping you and doing it for you. So it feels like an easy way out. My freedom, the price is that now I don't have a community, I don't have a family, and you know, you're just living in the world doing whatever, and you're more vulnerable to stuff. And I'm like, well, I still feel like I have morals. I still feel like I'm Christian, so I can base my life off of that at least. I don't have to throw myself into another religion or belief system or anything like that, but I could at least live a moral life. You know, something simple. But now that I feel like I'm ready for the next level, I'm ready to go to church, I'm ready to learn, you know, Christianity and stuff like that. You know, I shouldn't be blamed for that. We have freedom of religion here. We should be able to use it. We have freedom of speech. We should be able to speak more. That's exactly why I started all of this. Like, I can't type all of this feeling and emotion into a response for a comment that I feel like I want to answer. I want to answer that. There's no way I could type this. It's like you have to understand so much background to understand why somebody would, as I described, come out as a monster. Since she turned off her thinking, it's just reactionary and it's defensive, and it's, you know, they're going to fight and fight and fight because they're not even thinking. You're not talking it out. The next best thing is to hit. I guess that's just how it is, and that's my opinion on it. That's just my take on it. And so I wanted to give this long form answer for a comment like this. So I appreciate your comments and questions like this, because then it brings up these things that I want to talk about, and it's easier to just do it conversationally than, you know, typing it out. So anyways, thank you for the comment. I hope you appreciate the answer. You know, I don't even care about views, subscribers, nothing. I don't care about that. I care about telling these stories and viewing your comments. That's where the juice is. That's where the tea is. So that's what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to read your comments and bring up all of this so that I can showcase it and be like, I went through it. You know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm gonna talk to my people. I want to talk to you guys, because you know how I feel. All the born-ins or Jehovah's Witnesses, you know. All right, anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.